Namo Phat. Thank you for joining me for a daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The third mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by sexual misconduct, I vow to cultivate responsibility and learn ways to protect the safety and integrity of individuals, couples, families, and society. I am determined not to engage in sexual relations without love and a long-term commitment. To preserve the happiness of myself and others, I'm determined to respect my commitments and the commitments of others. I will do everything in my power to protect children from sexual abuse and to prevent couples and families from being broken by sexual misconduct. For Dharma lessons, we've been reading Ajahn Chah's book, Everything is Teaching Us, and this morning we're finishing a talk called Knowing the World. Don't make your practice confusing. Don't create a bunch of doubts for yourself. When you do have doubt, control it by seeing it as merely what it is and let go. Really, there is nothing. We create the sense that there is something, but really there's nothing. There is anatta. Our doubtful minds think there is something, and then there's atta. Then meditation becomes difficult because we think we have to get something and become something. Are you going to practice meditation to get or be something? Is that the correct way? It's only tanha that gets involved in having and becoming. There's no end in sight if you practice like that. Here we are talking about cessation, extinguishing. We are talking about everything extinguished, ceasing because of knowledge, not in a state of indifferent ignorance. If we can practice like this and vouch for our own experience, then never mind what anyone else says. So please, don't get lost in doubts about the practice. Don't get attached to your own views. Don't get attached to others' views. Staying in this middle place, wisdom can be born correctly and a full measure. I've often made the simple analogy of comparing grasping to the place we live. For example, there's the roof and the floor, the upper and lower stories. If someone goes upstairs, he knows he is up there. If he comes downstairs, he knows he's downstairs, standing on the floor. This is all we can recognize. We can sense where we are, either upstairs or downstairs, but the space in the middle we aren't aware of because there's no way to identify or measure it. It's just space. We don't comprehend the space in between, but it remains as it is, whether or not anyone descends from upstairs or not. The Sabbadānaṃ is like that, not going anywhere, not changing. When we say no becoming, that is the middle space, not marked or identified by anything. It can't be described. For example, these days, the youngsters who are interested in Dharma want to know about Nibbana. What's it like? But if we tell them about a place without becoming, they don't want to go. They back off. We tell them that this place is cessation. It is peace. But they want to know how they will live, what they will eat and enjoy there. So there's no end to it. The real questions for those who want to know the truth are questions about how to practice. There was an Ajivaka who met the Buddha. He asked, "Who is your teacher?" The Buddha replied, "I was enlightened through my own efforts. I have no teacher." But his reply was incomprehensible to that wanderer. It was too direct. Their minds were in different places. Even if the wanderer asked all day and all night, there was nothing about it he could understand. The enlightened mind is unmoving and thus cannot be recognized. We can develop wisdom and remove our doubts only through practice, nothing else. So, should we not listen to the Dhamma? We should. But then we should put the knowledge we gain into practice. This doesn't mean that we're following a person who teaches us. We follow the experience and awareness that arise as we put the teaching into practice. For instance, we feel, I really like this thing. I like doing things this way. But the Dharma doesn't allow such liking and attachment. If we are really committed to the Dharma, then we let go of that object of attraction when we see that it is contrary to Dharma. This is what the knowledge is for. A lot of talk. You're probably tired by now. Do you have any questions? Well, you probably do. You should have awareness and letting go. Things flow by and you let them go, but not in a dull, indifferent manner without seeing what is happening. There has to be mindfulness. All the things I've been saying are pointing to having mindfulness protecting you at all times. It means practicing with wisdom, not with delusion. Then we will gain true knowledge as wisdom becomes bold and keeps increasing. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be at peace. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for joining me today.